So I went to an integrative therapist after I went and saw that doctor who told me I was going to have neck pain for the rest of my life. So somebody at my church actually was like, hey, you should go check out this person. And I went and checked out this person. I was like, what is integrative therapy? What is acutonics? What is vibrational harmony? I was asking all these questions and Googling, and then so much stuff came up. So I was like, you know what? Let me just call him, book an appointment. And so I did. And during the session, we're talking like you and I are, and he's just asking me some different questions. What might you think, or what do you think might have caused the chronic neck pain? Where do you think it's rooted? Okay. And then he starts to do what's called EFT, which is an emotional freedom technique or emotional freedom therapy. And we're doing this tapping on different parts of the body, and he's asking me to repeat after him. And I'm like, what is he doing? Like, why am I saying these things and tapping here and da 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 da? And he's like, how do you feel? I was like, I feel good.
Like, yeah, I'm good, right?
I'm good. He's okay, let's do another round. So we do another round. We're doing another round and another round. And I started to feel like calm and relaxed. I'm like, okay. And then he lays me down on the table. He says, I'm going to work on your meridian points. And he starts banging these like tuning forks together and puts them on different points of my body. I was like, oh, it's kind of nice. It's just vibrating. Okay. All right. Okay, then he starts to put these bowls, I now know them as Tibetan singing bowls, but these bowls, he puts one on my chest and one at my feet and just starts making this noise with the bowls. I'm like, okay. And the entire time I am in my head thinking, what is he doing? I'm trying to understand so I can tell somebody about this.
Sounds like witchcraft to me.
It definitely sounded like witchcraft. And
well, imagine going through it and you're probably like, what is happening? He's
talking about chakras and all this stuff and stuff I had literally never heard of before. And so my wife, she picks me up from the therapy session and she's like, so what did you uncover? And I'm like, so he did this and this. And I'm like really trying to intellectualize. And that's just who I am. And tell her exactly what happened and then the order it happened and what method he was using. And she was kind of like, So
wasn't what she expected.
No, well, she was like, okay, well then I need you to maybe listen to this song that I want to post on YouTube. Tell me what you think. So she's a musician. She's playing the song and I'm watching the video and I'm just like, and I start to kind of like well up a little bit. And then I start to tear up and then I'm like, I don't know if this is just the song. I like the song and maybe. and then I
Which probably made her feel really good in the moment. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm sure she felt great. It was one of my favorite songs. But then I start to cry and I'm like, and then I start to like wail and weep. And we're sitting in the Target parking lot. And we're supposed to go in and go shopping. I was like, babe, can you just take me home? I don't know what's happening to me. And I just broke down and cried for 3 hours.
Wow.
3 hours. And the whole time I'm up in my head going, what did he do or what's happening? But my body is releasing all of this tension and energy and emotion. Wow. And I was floored and like literally cried myself to sleep.
So just to kind of, before that, were you much of a crier?
No.
Up to that point?
You know what's funny? I hadn't cried for probably 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Before that. So there was certainly a lot of pent up emotion, pent up things that my body needed to release. But going back to the, why we store up so much energy and why my body needed to release it was because of the trauma that I experienced. And I can point to probably more than one example, but I know for a fact at age 11, when our parents divorced, I was 11. I don't know how old you were.
It was 10.
10. Okay.
We just talked about how old we are.
I just remember the number 11 and everybody else didn't matter.
Right.
Like everybody else is on their own journey. Cause in that moment I felt alone. I was like, for the first time, my family is torn apart and I guess I have to figure things out for myself. And then growing up, I was a really, really sensitive kid. And he would tell you, I cried a lot as a kid. My mom told me, she was like, we had to come pick you up with the babysitter because you wouldn't stop crying. And so I remember at that time at age 11, when my parents told us like, hey, we're getting a divorce, I was like, all right, I'm not going to cry. And I didn't cry for 10 years. 10 years. And then I didn't cry that time that I cried. All somebody asked me was like, hey, how's your relationship with your mom? Instantly, like just broke down crying for no reason. I was like, oh. So I had this pattern of really stuffing emotions into some
like
place,
compartmentalizing
compartmentalizing it, not understanding that that was actually causing other issues in my body.